There's a movie waiting for you at home. Netflix. All the DVDs you want, starting at only $9.99 a month, no late fee.
Netflix was founded in 1997 in California, USA, as a DVD and Blu-ray rental company, similar to the now-defunct Blockbuster. The idea was to get movies to your door fast. Throughout its history, the company has undergone several transformations, from distributing movies and series online to producing its own originals. That's how a great idea was born that, over time, other companies claimed as their own. So grab your armor and 3D glasses, because we're about to enter the streaming platform wars. This is District Flicker, and the show is about to begin. It was 2012 when the streaming giant Netflix premiered Lilyhammer, about a New York Italian gangster who goes into hiding in Norway.
What the are you doing out here by yourself? Where you going? Come here.
A year later, House of Cards premiered, and well, the rest is history.
The closer you are to the source, the higher your property value.
Netflix's original and exclusive productions, from Orange is the New Black to Stranger Things, began to capture audiences' attention with their interesting and compelling stories. During this time, Netflix was at its peak, but let's face it, producing movies and shows wasn't just for fun, it was out of necessity. Because the executives of this company, with offices in Hollywood and California, knew that the day would soon come when the major studios would want to take the whole pie for themselves by creating their own streaming platforms. That's why, after the runaway success of House of Cards, Netflix hasn't stopped producing and acquiring production licenses to fill its catalog with original movies and series. In November 2019, the Walt Disney Company gave the starting signal when it announced that it was pulling all of its movies and series from other streaming platforms to put everything exclusively on its new streaming service, Disney Plus, so to speak. And that's when new contenders like HBO Max, Paramount, Apple TV Plus started to enter this great streaming war. And although Prime Video had been around for several years, it was then that the company's executives realized that they would have to invest millions of dollars to make productions that could compete with their rivals. The pandemic came to change the rules of the game. We no longer consume movies and TV shows in the same way. It's time to move on to the statistics I'm about to read, so as not to spoil it. So, according to Statista, there were no more and no less than 798.7 million subscribers across all streaming platforms in 2019. That is, if you add up Disney Plus, HBO Max, Prime Video, and all available services, there were a total of 798.7 million subscribers. Well, after the pandemic, currently in the middle of 2024, all streaming platforms have a staggering number of over 3 billion subscribers, combined and still growing. The number of people consuming movies and series via streaming is astounding. With this data, we see that streaming has indeed experienced exponential growth, and in fact, if I may say so, thanks to the pandemic. But now, in the middle of 2024, very bad news is starting to arrive for the big streaming companies. It's because, yes, we've peaked. They can no longer reach more subscribers. They have saturated the market. So the downturn or the stagnation is really hurting the market and the streaming industry. That's why the situation is getting more and more complicated, as we've seen with Netflix and HBO Max in the last few months. Before Netflix's big drop, and we'll get to shareholders later, you invested in streaming platforms based on the number of subscribers the service had. Let me be clear about what I'm saying. Investors didn't focus on the revenue of the company, they focused on the number of subscribers. From there, they started valuing the company by saying, okay, Netflix is worth this much because it has this many subscribers. I'm not so interested in how much money it makes or if it's profitable. I want to know how many people want the service and are willing to pay for it month after month. But well, that bubble burst. So they wasted a lot of money on movies and shows. They had the money to make as many productions as they wanted, even to the point of lowering the quality slightly. Let's go back to the statistics on my phone. During the pandemic, Netflix grew by 26 million users, and Disney, in just 16 months since its launch, reached the number of 100 million users willing to pay for the streaming service month after month. It's impressive how much support streaming had during the pandemic, because we were all locked in and there was no way to go to the movies or go out, so we were all dependent on our computers and phones. As I said, the only platform that makes money is Netflix. The other services, Disney, Warner Bros., Prime Video, Apple TV, are burning money, plain and simple. Yes, it doesn't matter that Disney Plus has about 152 million subscribers, Paramount has 56 million subscribers, and HBO Max has 32.1 million subscribers. They don't monetize, they just invest. As you know, we are 100% convinced on this channel that streaming platforms are the future of entertainment. But there are some platforms that haven't generated any revenue and have been up for 2 years. Without a doubt, that's a very bad sign and maybe a big red flag that the owners and executives of those companies didn't want to see. To give a clearer idea in monetary terms, let's talk about billions of dollars. Disney Plus lost a whopping $1.1 billion last year, and HBO Max wasn't far behind, losing a staggering $3 billion. It's a sum I literally can't imagine. And while Netflix is monetizing, that doesn't mean it's having a good time. The streaming service ended the second quarter of 2022 with a loss of 970 users in its total accounts. This was due to the controversies the company was involved in, as well as its exit from Russia due to the situation in that region of the world. However, it's also worth mentioning that towards the end of the year, that is, this year, they recovered quite well, as they gained 2.4 million new subscribers in the last quarter. Similarly, the stock is up 14%. But it's important to note that Netflix stock will never return to where it once was. The company used to be valued as a technology company, not an entertainment company. After the streaming bubble burst, investors realized that Netflix is not a technology or software development company, but rather a content production company. You're probably wondering, Eric, why are you talking so much about Paramount, HBO Max, Netflix, and not Prime Video or Apple TV Plus? Well, the situation with these companies is very different. There are huge companies behind these services, and in fact, these streaming platforms are just complements to the services or products that they sell. Take Amazon, for example. This company is backed by one of the richest men in the world, and Prime Video is designed to complement Amazon's Prime service, which includes free shipping and other benefits. The truth is that Prime Video is just an add-on and an extra, offered to users who subscribe to Prime. It's not the core of the business. Prime Video is just an add-on, and no doubt Amazon is willing to invest in Prime productions because they don't expect a direct return on the platform, but rather on their other significant businesses. The same is true for Apple TV Plus, which is an add-on to keep users in the Apple ecosystem and provide a value proposition. In addition, they are obviously looking for recognition within the Hollywood industry. These two companies are willing to invest whatever it takes and have no problem investing for the rest of their existence. Instead, Disney, Warner, Paramount, and other companies focus solely on entertainment and content production. And well, if they do poorly in theaters and fare poorly on platforms, then they're screwed. Now is the time to talk about the tragedy that is happening and why we need to put a stop to this war, because it's turning into a massacre. And not a massacre where one side is winning, but where all sides are losing. Because currently HBO Max is struggling. I think it's even worse off than Netflix was in its darkest moments, because HBO Max is facing a crisis after the merger of Warner Bros. And Discovery. These two companies are losing too many stocks, having issues with productions, because executives decide to cancel films and series that are already in post-production. They decide to remove exclusive content from their platform. There are decisions that, for the creatives behind these productions, are a lack of respect, and for the users as well, because they are paying for those exclusive contents. Without a doubt, David, the Warner executive, explicitly said he wants to focus more on traditional media, cinema, television, and leave streaming aside, which, from my point of view, is a serious mistake. We have said time and time again on this channel, streaming is the future, and also one of the most important signs that streaming is going through a very bad time, and the war has already ended, is that the business models of streaming platforms are evolving very rapidly. Streaming platforms are already changing their release formats from releasing entire series to releasing episodes weekly. They are also each developing plans with advertisements, making an interesting resemblance to television. They are already putting on live productions, which is very traditional television. We see how the middle ground between television and streaming is coming. They are seizing this point where it will already be definitive and will mark the trend of entertainment in the coming years. So if we see how Hollywood companies are seeking the whole pie, there is a crisis due to content oversaturation. Every streaming platform wants to release at least one super important premiere per month, and every week releases of medium relevance. And that causes so many streaming platforms, so many movies, so many series, that the user says, "I've had enough," and starts canceling subscriptions, apart from the economic crisis that the whole world is experiencing. But is streaming dying? Not at all. It's not dying per se. It's evolving and learning how the market works. Let's not forget that this streaming industry is quite new and is literally being debated right now, laying the groundwork for the future of streaming. It may be a threat to cinema or television, but this medium is still in its infancy and has a lot to offer. But tell me, which of these platforms do you prefer and why? If you liked this video, share it with your movie-loving friends, give it a like, and subscribe for more. This is District Flicker, and we'll see you next time.